Stop scrolling. This is not just another video. This is your wake-up call. What you do in the next few minutes could change the direction of your entire life. So don't skip this because you need to hear it right now. All right, listen carefully. Woman, urgent alert. Watch this before you check anything else today. Before you open your phone, before you scroll, before you check who texted you, who liked your post, who's doing better than you. I need you to hear this because what I'm about to say might change your whole day, and if you let it, your whole life. Every single morning, before the world even gets a chance to speak to you, before notifications start lighting up your phone, before anyone places expectations on your shoulders, you are standing at a quiet but powerful crossroads. It doesn't look dramatic. There's no spotlight, no applause, no warning sign. But in that moment, you are making a decision that will shape the rest of your day. You are deciding who you are going to be, not based on your past, not based on what happened yesterday, not based on what someone said to you last week, but based on what you choose right now. You can choose to step into the version of yourself that is filled with doubt, the one that questions everything, hesitates, overthinks, and pulls back just when it's time to move forward. That version of you looks for reassurance in all the wrong places, compares herself to others, and waits for the perfect moment that never really comes. She starts her day already feeling behind, already feeling like she's not enough, already preparing for things to go wrong. And when you walk into your day with that mindset, everything begins to reflect it. Opportunities feel intimidating, challenges feel overwhelming, and even small tasks start to feel heavier than they should. Or you can make a different choice. You can choose to become the woman who carries confidence, not because everything is perfect, but because she has decided to trust herself no matter what. This is the woman who takes action even when she feels uncertain, who moves forward even when she doesn't have all the answers, and who understands that growth doesn't come from waiting, it comes from doing. She doesn't let fear control her decisions. She acknowledges it, but she doesn't bow down to it. She wakes up with intention, with purpose, and with the belief that no matter what comes her way, she has what it takes to handle it. The truth is, both versions of you exist within you at the same time. The difference is not in your abilities, your background, or your circumstances. The difference is in your choice. And that choice is not something you make once in a lifetime. It's something you make every single day. The moment you open your eyes, the moment you take your first breath of the day, you are setting the tone. You are either stepping into your power or stepping away from it. So don't underestimate the power of your mornings. Don't rush past that moment like it doesn't matter. Because it does. More than you realize, the woman you become by the end of the day is directly connected to the decision you make at the beginning of it. And if you truly want to change your life, it doesn't start with something big or complicated. It starts with a simple, quiet, but bold decision today. I choose to show up as the strongest, most confident version of myself. The truth is, most of the limits you feel in your life are not coming from your situation, your background, or even the people around you. They are coming from the mindset you carry every single day. It's the quiet voice in your head that keeps repeating the same story, the one that tells you you're not ready, not capable, not deserving, or not good enough. And the dangerous part is you've heard that story so many times that it no longer sounds like doubt, it sounds like truth. You wake up with it, you move through your day with it, and without even realizing it, you start making decisions that match that belief. When your mindset is rooted in negativity, everything begins to shrink. Opportunities don't look like chances to grow. They look like risks to avoid. Challenges don't feel like lessons. They feel like confirmation that you're going to fail. You start hesitating, second-guessing, and holding yourself back, not because you actually can't move forward, but because your mind has already convinced you that you shouldn't. And over time, that internal narrative becomes a self-fulfilling cycle. You think small, so you act small, and then you use those small results as proof that you were right all along. But here's what you need to understand. Your mind is powerful, but it is also programmable. The story you keep telling yourself is not fixed. It's something you've practiced. Maybe it came from past failures, maybe from criticism, maybe from comparing yourself to others, or from moments where things didn't go the way you expected. But just because that story started somewhere doesn't mean it has to stay. You have the ability to interrupt it, challenge it, and replace it with something stronger and more empowering. Imagine what would happen if, instead of saying, "I can't do this," you started asking, "How can I figure this out?" Instead of thinking, "I'm not enough," you reminded yourself, "I'm growing, I'm learning, and I'm becoming better every day." That shift may seem small, but it changes everything because your actions always follow your thoughts. When you start feeding your mind belief instead of doubt, courage instead of fear, you begin to move differently. You take chances, you speak up, you step into rooms you once avoided, and you begin to see possibilities where you once saw limitations. Your situation may not change overnight, but your mindset can. And once your mindset changes, your perspective changes. And when your perspective changes, your decisions change. That's how your life begins to transform, not from the outside in, but from the inside out. So if you feel stuck, if you feel like something is holding you back, take a moment to listen to what you've been telling yourself. Because the real barrier isn't out there somewhere, it's the story in your mind. And the moment you decide to rewrite that story, you take your power back. At some point, you have to be honest with yourself and admit that playing small is no longer protecting you, it's limiting you. It may feel safe to stay quiet, to hold back your opinions, to avoid taking risks, and to wait until everything feels perfect before you make a move. But that safety comes at a cost. It keeps you stuck in a version of your life that is far below your potential. And the longer you stay there, the more comfortable it becomes, even though deep down you know you were meant for more. A lot of this comes from waiting for permission from people to approve your choices, permission from circumstances to line up perfectly, or permission from your own fear to finally let you move forward. You tell yourself things like, "I'll start when I feel ready," or "I just need a little more time," or "What will people think?" But the truth is, that moment you're waiting for rarely comes. There is no perfect timing, no universal sign that suddenly removes all doubt. And while you're waiting, life keeps moving, opportunities pass by, and someone else who may not even be more talented than you is stepping into the space you were meant to occupy. The reality is you don't need approval to be who you are. You don't need validation to pursue what's already placed in your heart. You don't need everything to be figured out before you begin. What you need is a decision, a bold, clear, and unapologetic decision that says, I'm done holding myself back. That decision doesn't mean you won't feel fear. It doesn't mean everything will suddenly be easy, but it means you're no longer letting fear make your choices for you. When you stop playing small, you start showing up differently. You speak with more confidence, even if your voice shakes at first. You take action, even if you're unsure of the outcome. You begin to trust yourself, not because you have all the answers, but because you believe in your ability to figure things out along the way. And that's where real growth happens, not in comfort, but in movement. There will always be people who don't understand your journey, who question your decisions, or who expect you to stay the same. But their opinions are not your direction. Your life is not meant to be lived based on other people's comfort levels. It's meant to reflect your truth, your purpose, and your potential. So instead of waiting for a green light from the world, give it to yourself. Stop shrinking to fit into spaces that were never meant for you. Stop delaying your growth because of fear disguised as timing. You already have what you need within you. The only thing missing is the decision to step forward and fully embrace it. And the moment you make that decision, everything begins to shift. You may not even realize it, but one of the biggest things quietly holding you back right now is distraction. It doesn't show up as something dangerous or obvious. In fact, it feels normal. Picking up your phone first thing in the morning, scrolling through social media, checking messages, watching what everyone else is doing, it all seems harmless. But over time, these small habits start to take control of your focus, your energy, and ultimately your direction in life. What feels like a quick check turns into minutes, then hours, and before you know it, your day has been shaped by everything except your own priorities. The problem isn't just the time you're losing, it's what it's doing to your mind. Every time you scroll, you are feeding yourself other people's lives, other people's success, other people's highlights. And without even noticing, you start comparing, you start measuring your progress against someone else's journey, someone else's timing, someone else's results. That comparison slowly chips away at your confidence. It makes you feel like you're behind, like you're not doing enough, like you're missing something. And instead of being inspired, you become discouraged, stuck in a loop where you're watching life instead of living it. Meanwhile, your own growth is waiting. The goals you've been thinking about, the ideas you've been putting off, the discipline you've been trying to build, they all require one thing, your attention. But attention is exactly what distraction steals from you. You can't fully focus on building your future if your mind is constantly being pulled in 100 different directions. You can't expect progress if your energy is being spent reacting instead of creating. There's also something deeper happening. Constant distraction keeps you comfortable. It gives you an easy escape from the work you know you should be doing. Whenever things feel challenging or uncertain, it's easier to grab your phone and disappear into a scroll than to face what actually needs your effort. But that comfort is temporary, and it comes with a cost. The longer you stay in that cycle, the harder it becomes to break free from it. Imagine what could change if you took control of your attention. If instead of starting your day with your phone, you started it with intention. If you gave your time and energy to things that actually move your life forward, even a small shift in focus can create powerful results over time. The truth is, your life is not going to change by watching others live theirs. It changes when you decide to be present, to be intentional, and to take action. You don't need to eliminate everything overnight, but you do need to become aware. Ask yourself where your time is going, what you're feeding your mind, and whether it's helping you grow or keeping you stuck. Because your potential is not disappearing, it's just waiting for your attention. And the moment you stop letting distractions control you is the moment you start taking your life back. It's easy to feel like you're behind in life, especially when you look around and see other people moving faster, achieving more, or reaching milestones you thought you would have hit by now. That feeling can quietly turn into pressure, and that pressure can make you believe that you've missed your moment. But the truth is, you are not behind. You're not late. You're not disqualified. You're simply standing at a point where one clear, focused decision can begin to change everything for you. Most people think transformation requires something big, a perfect plan, a major breakthrough, or a dramatic life change. But real change doesn't usually start that way. It starts with a decision, a simple, intentional moment where you stop repeating old patterns and choose something different. It might not look impressive from the outside, but internally it shifts everything. Because the moment you decide to think differently, act differently, and show up differently, you break the cycle that's been keeping you stuck. The reason this matters so much is because your life is built on the decisions you make daily. Not the once in a while decisions, but the consistent ones. The decision to get up and try again instead of giving up. The decision to focus instead of getting distracted. The decision to believe in yourself instead of doubting everything you do. These small choices may seem insignificant in the moment, but over time they create momentum, and momentum is what carries you forward even when things feel slow or uncertain. You don't need to have everything figured out right now. You don't need to know every step or have a perfect path laid out in front of you. What you need is clarity in this moment, a decision that says, from this point on, I'm going to move with purpose. That decision becomes your foundation. It guides your actions, shapes your habits, and strengthens your confidence. And with every step you take, no matter how small, you begin to see progress, not because everything changed overnight, but because you did. It's also important to understand that one decision doesn't mean everything becomes easy. There will still be challenges, doubts, and moments where you feel like going back to old habits. But the difference is now you're aware. Now you've chosen a direction. And every time you reaffirm that decision, you grow stronger. You begin to trust yourself more, and that trust becomes the driving force behind your progress. So instead of focusing on how far you think you are from where you want to be, focus on the decision in front of you right now. That's where your power is. Not in the past, not in the future, but in this moment. because you are not stuck. You're one intentional choice away from moving forward. And once you make that choice, everything begins to shift in ways you didn't think were possible. So now, after hearing all of this, it comes down to one simple truth: you have more control over your life than you've been giving yourself credit for. Every morning starts with a choice. Your mindset shapes your direction, and the moment you stop playing small, everything begins to open up. The distractions that have been stealing your time only have power if you keep giving it to them. And the life you want is not waiting for the perfect moment. It's waiting for your decision. This is your wake-up call. Not tomorrow, not later, not when things feel easier, but right now. You don't need permission, you don't need validation, and you don't need to have it all figured out. What you need is the courage to choose differently, to think differently, to act differently, because the version of you that you keep imagining is not out of reach. It's already within you, waiting for you to step into it. So before you go back to your routine, before you pick up your phone and get pulled into the noise of the world, take a moment and make a decision, a real one. Decide that today you will show up with intention. Decide that today you will stop doubting yourself. Decide that today you will take at least one step toward the life you know you're meant to live. Because at the end of the day, nothing changes until you do, and the moment you decide to change, even in the smallest way, you set something powerful in motion. This is your moment. Don't let it pass you by.